Um, Eagles 2026 draft. I know you're going to hate this. Can you give it a grade?
No.
Okay, let's go pick by pick then, round by round, whatever. And you tell me what you feel about all these things and the situation, like the context around why that's a good or a bad pick. Starting with one of your favorite players this whole entire draft season, which is Makai Lemon at the first round, the pick number 20 from 120. That's my birthday. But Makai Lemon, wide receiver from USC. You love this guy. Tell us.
I did. And it starts when you watch tape of players. So many players, every once in a while, and it doesn't happen all that often, somebody just pops out because of their football temperament. And by that, I mean how they play the game every friggin' snap. And like, I'll give you two examples. When you watch an NFL game, Puka Nacua just jumps off the tape.
And I heard someone say he's like a smaller Puka Nacua. Is that true?
Well, Puka was what, a 5th round pick or whatever. But Puka plays every snap. He digs safeties and linebackers out of the C gap. Every time the ball goes up in the air, he thinks it's friggin' his ball, no matter how big or small he is compared. It's his. That's his attitude. That's how he plays every snap. Amon-Ra St. Brown, another one like that. I mean, his football temperament is, I'm going to kick your butt. I was at his pro day, I remember, and he was just mad the whole pro day. He didn't like his 40. He had a chip on his shoulder. Like, he was walking around pissed off at people. And that's how he plays the game. Cooper Kupp, another guy that kind of jumps. So I'm watching Makai Lemon, and every tape I put in, it was this attitude, this chip, like, I'm better than you. And that ball goes up in the air, and it's mine. Like, don't even don't mess with me. Like, that football is mine. So I start from that perspective.
Can you like teach that, or is that just something, like you said, is special with these different guys?
I think certain guys are born with it and just have a temperament about them. And perhaps during life, their life experiences pushed them even further towards having that edge. Like Steve Smith, who you and I talk about all the time, he had that edge. Like, he was another guy I thought about when I was doing Makai. Like, nobody played more pissed off than Steve. And when I did, it
worked well for him.
Yeah, and when I did his podcast a couple of weeks ago, we talked about this a little bit. And so, in my mind, this year's draft, there were 6 wideouts that were probably going to go in the first round. I think 5 went, but there was a group of the top 3. And the top 3 before a step down, to me, and I think for most people, were Carnell Tate, who went 4 to Tennessee, Jordan Tyson, who went 8 to New Orleans, and then Makai Lemon was the 3rd. Now, a lot of people thought, where does, you can jumble that up a little bit depending on who you like. But I didn't think there was any way in the world Makai Lemon was going to go from, Tyson goes at 8 and then not until 20. So, typical Howie Roseman, patient. He gets to a spot where he can jump. And why did he jump to 20? Because Pittsburgh was at 21 with a huge wideout need, and everybody in the league knew it. So he jumped ahead of Pittsburgh. Interestingly enough, with the Dallas Cowboys, an in-division rival. So the Cowboys were willing to trade with the Eagles. That doesn't always happen. Mm-hmm. And I'm a little surprised that Pittsburgh was caught so unaware.
Like, literally on the phone with him?
Like, everybody knows.
Said, what are the Eagles doing? And then they called? That's crazy.
Just Pittsburgh should have been all over the fact that the Eagles could have been moving ahead of them. It's an obvious thing because Pittsburgh has a need. Philly has a need, especially with the A.J. Brown thing. And Howie's got a reputation for trading up in the first round for guys he wants. And this was the 3rd guy of a 3 wide receiver grouping. So Pittsburgh got caught with their pants down. Howie comes out the winner again. And this kid's going to come in. And now if you assume A.J. Brown is gone.
So are we?
I think he's probably going to be gone. I think that, yeah.
Okay.
And I think what
and
you're
do
looking
you
at,
especially think that because of this move?
I think it just enforces it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you look at where their wideout room was after, a month ago, 2 months ago, it's a completely different room now, because basically the top three wideouts are going to play most of the snaps are going to be Makai Lemon, Devontae Smith, and Dontavius Wicks.
What about Hollywood Brown?
So Hollywood Brown, and maybe to a less extent Elijah Moore, are the two veterans they signed. Hollywood Brown is kind of a vertical, all day long vertical guy that can stretch the defense. And he's an important guy, but I think he's number 4, and he can rotate in, and they've got a good depth chart now, where a month or two ago they didn't.
Do they have a wide receiver who was more like AJ, or do you think because he was bigger than everybody else, like a larger wide receiver?
Yeah.
Is that something they have, or do you think they'll deal with tight ends in that way instead?
Yeah, and the second round pick, Eli Stowers.
Okay, so the Eagles picked Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vanderbilt, with the second pick, pick 54. Take us through that type of decision.
I didn't think Stowers was going to last that long again. So Howie was patient. Yeah, I mean, Stowers is just under 6'4", 239 pounds. He blew up the combine. He jumped 45 and a half inches, which is more than any tight end ever has, and pretty close to more than any wideout ever has. He broad jumped 11.3, and he ran 4.51. So his athletic pedigree is off the charts. When you watch his tape, to me, he almost projects more like a big wide receiver than he does a tight end. Like apparently DJ, Daniel Jeremiah, was talking about him before the draft, was talking about him like he's almost like an AJ Brown type of guy. And I had in my notes a little bit like a Drake London, who's the big wide out in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So even though he's a tight end, you're really not going to line him up in line and ask him to block defensive ends and linebackers, because he can't. He was a high school quarterback that went to college at Texas A&M and was like a 15 quarterback. Then he moved to New Mexico State, finally moved to tight end. So he's only played tight end 3 years in his life. And he's an athletic freak. And will he block? Yeah, on the perimeter. You get him on the move. You get him on bubble screens and that kind of stuff. He's a good blocker. He's a tough enough kid. But so Makai Lemon and this kid together give them two playmakers on offense.
Okay, interesting. And is that the type, when you say two playmakers on offense now, is that also helpful in the Sean Mannion offense that you were talking about? That's going to be a lot different.
Yeah, and I think especially Puka, both of them really, but
especially Puka. You mean Makai?
I mean Puka. Listen to me, Makai.
I think
because the Sean Mannion offense is all the stuff we talked about last year the Eagles didn't do, and I kept wondering why. Where's the motion?
Yeah. Did you hear Stoutland was on the Kelsey's podcast and basically said that was what the issue was last year?
The line I heard that was publicized was about you got to call the right plays against the defensive front.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about kind of the pass game and the way NFL offenses have evolved, especially like the Rams. You look at the Rams, you look at San Francisco, you look at teams that it's basically, instead of old school where you had an X wide out, a Z wide out on the other side, and a slot in the middle, Makai Lemon is more kind of like the slot. And in the old days, you didn't really take a slot in the first round. Think Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow was a slot, right? So Lemon, because of what's going on with today's offenses and what Sean Mannion, I think, is going to be, he's going to have all kinds of motion, stacks, bunches, rub routes, all this stuff that helps wideouts get off the line. And it doesn't matter as much whether you're a slot or an outside guy because you're all doing similar things, okay? Mm-hmm. I call it a blurring of the wideout position. And Makai Lemon fits with that. Okay. A tight end like Dallas Goedert and Eli Stowers will fit beautifully in that whole thing. And they also signed a couple like no-name tight ends so that they'll block. A guy named Johnny Munt, who you and I talked about a few weeks ago.
You said he's sticky.
Yeah.
He's a sticky blocker. Doesn't mean his hands are sticky. He's not a good catcher. He's a good sticky blocker.
He fits the Mannion offense with what they want to do in the run game.
Okay.
So it's a really good question you asked about the Sean Mannion offense. Mm-hmm. And I think those first two picks fit in perfectly.
Okay, cool. That's actually exciting to hear. So then round 3, they went tackle out of Miami, Markeel Bell. With pick 68, what's the thought process around this?
Do you remember how massive a human being Trent Brown was?
Yes.
Okay, we signed Trent from New England. Trent was like 6'8", 6'7.5", maybe 6'8", 360. Mm-hmm. And the next year he was 408.
Okay.
408 pounds.
Okay.
Okay. The Eagles had Mekhi Becton.
Yeah.
A year ago. 6'8", 350. There aren't many guys that size that are good athletes, okay? And that's what...
Unless you go to the IPP program, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, well, you know as much about that guy as I do. But so there aren't many human beings that are that massive that are also good athletes. Mm-hmm. So the kid they took in the third, Markeel Bell, he was the other tackle at Miami. Francis Maui-Noah went in the first round, and everybody knew he was the guy. Yeah. The left tackle there was Markeel Bell. So he's huge. He's 6'9.25", 350. He's got a wingspan of like a pterodactyl.
Pterodactyls have short arms.
No, well, I think it's supposed to sound funny if I'm wrong.
Okay, well, but wait, I think pterodactyls typically have short arms.
Okay. Dinosaur. Whatever.
Wait, I want to look it up. Wait.
Oh, great.
I don't know how to spell it, though.
Good.
Pterodactyl dinosaur. Wait, I want to see. Oh, no, you were right. I think you were right. I think they have really long wings.
There you go.
What's the dinosaur with tiny arms? Reuben Bain. That was. Wait, I need to know. Dinosaur with tiny arms.
I'll just wait.
Oh, a T-Rex.
There you go.
Okay, so you were right. Sorry. Good job. You painted a great visual picture in my mind of Markeel Bell's wingspan.
Okay. So they took him with like the 4th pick in the 3rd round. That's a pretty high pick, 68th pick. Okay. Which tells me they really like him. Uh-huh. He's a good athlete. He only had 21 starts at Miami because he came from a community college before that. So even though he comes from Miami, which is a big time program, he was only there. He only had a year and a half of starting experience. He's raw, but he's got a chance to be a really good player. And I think the plan is, even though he played left tackle at Miami, he projects in the NFL to right tackle, and Lane Johnson's going to retire in the next year or two. So this kid projects as a potential replacement. Keep in mind, last year they drafted 2 kids in the 6th round that have a head start on them because they're in the building for a year now.
You talked about them last time that they're like players. Yeah.
It's Miles Hinton is one of them, and the other one is Cam Williams from Texas. And the two of them I liked as athletes and size-wise a year ago. So it'll be interesting to go to Eagles camp this year and kind of see how that offensive line things progressing. Because remember, the Eagles O-line didn't play well last year.
Right.
So it'll be really interesting.
And they're missing Stoutland now.
And it'll be really interesting to see how the young O-line guys, they also drafted a center/guard a year ago from Boston College named Drew Kendall. Can he push last year's starting guard? So to me, that there's a lot going on in that O-line this year.
Okay, musical chairs, if you will, but in a good way. There's like options. But did you see there was like 3 BC guys drafted this year, and you didn't think there was gonna?
Oh, I know a couple will get drafted. I think the first one that went was it Jude Bowery, maybe in the 4th round.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Yeah,
and then
so
I knew drafted.
Well, I knew they get 2 or 3. Like my freshman year at BC, they had 8 guys drafted, and what?
Is that when there were 10 rounds?
12 rounds.
12 rounds. Yeah.
But it's hardly more than what they have today.
Oh, there are 7 now.
What's that?
Are there 7 now?
Yeah, but there are more teams now.
More teams? What do you mean?
Yeah. Like Seattle and
Seattle didn't exist when you were playing?
Well, who came in there? It was Jacksonville and Seattle, maybe? Seattle did exist. I'm trying to remember how many teams.
Crazy.
Maybe I'm wrong.
That's crazy.
But anyway, maybe I'm wrong.
Anyway, go Boston College Eagles. Shout out to them. Okay, so now we're up to, we didn't have any 4th round picks. We're up to around the 5th round. And this was interesting because they went quarterback out of North Dakota State, Cole Payton.
Yeah.
Newhouser was still available at that time. There's a bunch of quarterbacks still available at that time. Nussmeier. What did I say? Newhouser?
You said Newhouser. You used to be a coach.
Isn't Nussmeier's dad a coach too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Cole Payton, North Dakota State. Should we be excited about that? Why did we do that?
When we did the evaluation stuff for Sumer,
mm-hmm.
A couple of our scouts jumped on the table for this kid. And Cole Payton is 6'3", 232. He's a big, strong, athletic, left-handed kid. And he only started 1 year at North Dakota State. But the 2 years before that, he was playing like running back, tight end. They were doing a bunch of stuff just to get the ball in his hands, knowing that he was eventually going to be their starting quarterback. Do you know the name Taysom Hill?
Yeah. My Dolphins?
Well, he's played for New Orleans for probably 7, 8, 9 years now.
Okay.
And similar kid came out of college as a quarterback. New Orleans has done a great job moving him around to different positions, and he's become a kind of really important part of their offense and special teams because of how tough and athletic a kid he is. So that's what this kid is. I don't know. I think he's more accurate a passer than Taysom Hill was coming out of college, a little bit more polished, but he's just as big and strong and athletic. So I'm interested to see if he can make the Eagles. Remember, it's a 53-man roster, but on Sunday, you only have 48. You want to be, if you're on the team, you want to be on the final 48 because you want to play in the game.
Right.
You want to dress. And it'll be interesting to see if this kid can make a big enough impression to get on the final 48 every week to play special teams and maybe even come in and do the tush push and maybe run some quarterback runs. And he's really kind of an intriguing kid.
Oh, I like him for the tush push then, if he's all athletic like that.
Oh, he's a big, strong kid.
Well, okay, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So will he be on like special teams?
That's what I'm saying. He probably, which is not typical to see a quarterback.
No, yeah, that's fun.
So to me, he's going to be fun to watch in camp.
Okay.
Kind of see what the plan the Eagles have for this kid. Like, are they going to put him in a bubble and say you're just a quarterback because we want to see what you project to as a quarterback? Or are they going to say, let's have some fun and use you any way we can to help our team win this year? So we'll see.
Okay, hold on. Lucy the dog is freaking out. Hold on. Okay, and then after Cole Payton, the quarterback, the versatile quarterback, We had a pick. Eagles had a pick in round 6, guard Micah Morris, and then 3 picks in the 7th round. And what I'm most excited about is the second coming of Jordan Mailata, because the Eagles, Howie, so typical Howie. This guy, the International Player Program in the NFL, the IPP, they go and pluck guys, international guys that they think are just like freak athletes, and they're like, hey, come to our program, we're going to teach you football, you're athletic enough, like, let's see how you do, whatever. So this guy, Uar Bernard from Nigeria, it's funny to me, I'm like, how did they even give him a position yet? Like, we don't know his position yet, really. They say D tackle, which is probably what it'll be, but he went viral. Like, he went to a HBCU combine showcase, and he was the measurables that you were talking about of like Trent Brown, but like could move like Cole Payton. Like, yeah. Insane. And I mean, it's just so typical Howie I think Bernard is like over 300 pounds with 6% body fat and ran like a 4.5. Yeah. And jumped out the building.
Yeah.
But Howie has had success with this, with obviously Jordan Mailata. And I just think if any team is going to do this right, it's the Eagles. And it would be like Howie to have a round 7 steal from Nigeria that like shocks the world. Yeah. Are you obsessed with this? I am.
I'm not obsessed with it, but everything you just said is 100% true. The Eagles are always looking out in different ways. They're willing to take chances. I think they're ahead of most of the league most of the time. And this is a situation where
I'm sorry. Lucy the dog is screeching at me. I don't know if you can hear, and I just audibly said shush, and I didn't mean to shush you. I was trying to side shush Lucy the dog. I'm sorry.
It's quite all right.
I'm sorry. I literally just paused this to go get her a treat. She already ate it like an animal. Okay. Can you chill out? Right.
So
I don't know if she's gonna chill out. Okay.
So this whole IPP thing and all, like, I flashed back to Mailata when he first got to Eagles training camp, and I watched him. Like, he was a big curiosity. Mm-hmm. And I was at NFL Network, and I had interviewed him on our set in the 7th round, Mailata.
You did?
Yeah, he was there. He was at the draft, and he came on.
Where was the draft that year?
I don't know if that was Dallas. I forget where it was, but it was day 3. We were outside, and the kid was a fun kid to talk to. So when I got to training camp, I spent time watching him, and he was so raw, Leigh. Like, I didn't even know if he knew how to put his pads on, right? And what they were trying to get him to do, he couldn't do, nor should he have been able to do it. He'd never done it in his life. So all these guys that have played football their whole lives are running all these drills, and he's kind of looking at them, and he looks way out of sorts. But he was so big and so long and so physically gifted. Stoutland took it upon himself and that group of players and coaches to just continue to work with this kid. So here's what I would tell you about the new kid. You can look like Tarzan, but you don't want to play like Jane. Okay? And I know
that's appropriate to say.
No, there's no female football players, so you don't want to play like.
Oh, can you see Lucy the dog in the background a little bit? Can you see her?
Well, she keeps disappearing and appearing because you've got that fake background.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, like, obviously we don't know. It's a huge, but getting someone in round 7 is like, that is a toss up. Is not.
Yeah, but let me just kind of finish the point. Okay. So here's the key. If this kid's got some inherent toughness and physicality, along with all those great traits that he was born with, and he's willing to kind of go through the tough times, and it's okay to make a fool of himself, and it's okay not to know how to do things. It's okay to look the worst in the group on almost every drill for a period of time. If he can handle all those things, the Eagles will figure out the position. They start him at defensive tackle, great. But the Eagles will teach him how to play ball, and it's going to take a little time. And I guarantee you, if the kid hangs in there and works hard at it, a year from now, he'll look like a completely different guy.
I'm excited. I just think I'm also like, number one, it's just so Eagles and I'm obsessed with it. Number two, the IPP program in general excites me. I think it's really cool, and I think it's a really cool opportunity, and like, why not? So yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes. But I think it's going to be the second coming of Jordan Mailata and then some.
You better go feed your dog.
Do you hear? Come here. Okay, but wait. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. That was the fourth time I left and tried to appease the dog. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the Eagles, but which ultimate you would say was a pretty decent draft by them, yeah?
Very much so, yes.
Okay, so then the other thing I wanted to ask you about was the whole Rams situation, taking a quarterback, Ty Simpson at that pick when they have Matt Stafford and they have other needs. Like, why would they do that? Explain, please.
Yeah, I would say that 90% of the fans out there hated the pick. And there was a big uproar. And their point, and a lot of football people, their point from football is that the Rams are a really good team, but they could use another wide out, another corner, whatever, and you're sitting at number 13. And if you can get a player at 13 that can start for you this year and help you be better, they're a legit Super Bowl team. So why wouldn't you try to go all in and make yourself the best possible team you could be this year? And that's kind of a very accepted philosophy. Of course, your father disagrees. And the reason I disagree is because I think the most important position in all of professional sports, not just football, all sports, is quarterback. It's also the hardest one to fill. So to me, the whole thing comes down to the Rams' evaluation of Ty Simpson. Matthew Stafford's 38. He's got a year or two at most, it looks like, left. He's had some injuries. Like, if you want to keep competing at a high level, sustain excellence over time, you're going to need a quarterback. And if a year from now, if they don't have an answer at quarterback, they're going to be a bad football team. So they were intentional about making sure they had another option that they, in their opinion, can start in the NFL and play at a certain level. And they went out and they got him. And I love the fact that they were intentional about the quarterback position. And to me, it all comes down to their evaluation of Ty Simpson. If they believe he's a high-level starting quarterback, go get him. Who cares what the rest of the league thinks? And to be honest with you, Les Snead is a really good GM. He doesn't get enough credit, and they're one of the most creative teams in the league every year. I would put Les up there with Howie and a couple other guys as far as the best GMs in football. And the Rams, remember a couple years ago, they win the Super Bowl, and Les was at the parade, F them picks and all. And then he went about and rebuilt the team immediately with no first-round picks. And all of a sudden, they're one of the best teams in the league again last year. And now they're trying to sustain success over a period of time. And I give them credit. It goes against the grain. It's different than what people think. And I love it.
Do you think that there was a cohesiveness of the pick between the GM and the coach? Because that's been a lot of people were saying they don't think that Sean McVay liked this pick at all.
Yeah. I think Sean was just being respectful of his starting quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Okay. And there's no way they're making that pick without Sean on board. And as a matter of fact, Ty Simpson came out yesterday and basically talked about the secret meetings he had with the Rams, where the Rams basically told him to keep his mouth shut because you can imagine if teams around the league thought that the Rams were a potential for Ty Simpson at 13, it could have changed the perception of Ty Simpson around the league. You know?
Yeah, the smoke and mirrors before draft, it goes either way.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh could have been looking to trade up to get ahead of them and all kinds of things. So I give them a ton of credit.
Okay, interesting. Before you go, because I know you're on the East Coast, I know it's late there, but I have to tell you, my FanDuel pick right now, because NBA playoff is my favorite time to bet. We're live in it right now. It's 9 minutes left in the second quarter. The Celtics versus the Sixers. The Sixers need to win to stay alive.
Right.
My bet is looking okay. I took Jaylen Brown over 4.5 rebounds and Paul George over 9.5 points. Paul George has 6 points right now, and Jaylen has 2 rebounds. That's okay. That's pretty decent for the start of a game.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. I screwed myself last game because I forgot Joel Embiid came back last game, and I put my FanDuel ticket in before thinking it was just going to be the same as it had been the first 2 games. Joel Embiid back impacts everything on both teams. So I screwed that up. So that it's time for redemption tonight. So everybody wish me luck.
Good luck. Go Eagle. Go Flyers. Go Flyers. Go Sixers. They're both playing.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging with me and dealing with my my dog Lucy and my sickness. So thanks for.
Well, take care of yourself and get some sleep, okay?
Okay.
And don't worry. You should be fine in the next 24 to 36 hours. Okay.
Just don't go to hot yoga tomorrow.
All right. Good idea.
Okay. We'll talk to you later. Thanks, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Love ya. This is Believe in Eagles brought to you by FanDuel.